Hello again, class. Good to have you guys again. So today we are going to be going over Unit 1, Lesson 8, Area of Triangles. So like normal, whenever we start the lesson, we are going to go back to our digital notebook to review some of our terms. So we're going to go into My Class, and here on the home page, as we scroll down just a little bit, you can see here Digital Notebook. So I'm going to go back into our digital notebook. And I'm going to go, we're still in Unit 1. Or I can just scroll down on the left. Now, as we come down in here, when we have already looked at a few things, I've already provided this one a little bit ago, but I want to go back to it. So if we're looking for the area of a triangle, here is our formula. Area equals base times height divided by 2. And once again, just like with our parallelograms, your base and your height must be perpendicular to each other. Perpendicular means they form a 90-degree angle, also known as a right angle. So your base and your height for a triangle have to be perpendicular to each other, form that 90-degree angle. So now I'm going to show you a little bit about why that rule really works. So I am going to go into something a little different here. Give me 1 second, guys. Okay, so here we have a basic parallelogram or a square. And we're going to see why that particular formula is the way that it is. So I've got my square here. Now, what I have already done is I have drawn a line completely bisecting this square. So I have formed two perfect triangles that can fit in this square. I'm going to move them over for you so you can see it. That both of these triangles form completely inside this square. Now, this is a lot like what I had showed you guys the first couple of days of class, how we can have multiple shapes that fit inside one another. And we've already kind of gone over some of these basics, but both of these triangles you can see fit completely into that square. They each take up half of that square. That is why our formula is made the way that it is. So you can see here the formula for area of a rectangle is length times width. We take our length, we multiply it by our width, and that's our area. Well, the triangle is exactly half of that space. That is why the formula is base times height divided by 2. And it's the same thing over here, it's just flipped on its side. But that is why you have to divide by 2 when you're finding the area of a triangle. Because if I have two of the exact same triangles, they're going to make some type of parallelogram. In this case, it was a square. And half of the area of that square or that parallelogram is your triangle. So that's why we take our base times height divided by 2. Because if we had two of the triangles, we would have our complete parallelogram. So that is how we apply both of those formulas to give us the area that we need. Now, it's really important we make sure that we use the formula that we need for the appropriate shape. I'm going to go back here to our digital notebook for a second. And over here, you can see I've already provided multiple formulas. We've got the formula for a rectangle, length times width, triangle, base times height divided by 2, and parallelogram, just base times height, okay? So we have to make sure that we're solving for the correct shape and we're using the correct formula. That can get really tricky when we're dealing with multiple shapes, okay? All right, so now we are gonna go back into what we need for today. So I'm gonna go back here into Canvas, and I'm gonna go into Modules, and then find today's date, which will be September 11th. All right, and then I'm going to go on to today's task, which is more triangles. First, I'm going to blow up my screen a little bit to give myself more room. More triangles. And more triangles. Okay, so today's task says to find the area of at least two of the triangles below. So anytime we are doing this stuff, what I always say is the first part is to write down your formula. So I'm going to do that up here in the top. So the area of any triangle, area equals base times height divided by 2. Okay, so let's just start with A. I want to find, again, for my formula, I need to find my base. Oops. I need to find my base, and I need to find my height. So I'm going to do that right here. So because it's at the bottom, and I think it makes it a lot easier, I'm just going to use this bottom line as the base for this particular triangle. So since I'm working with a grid, I can just count. So I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. So I know the value for my base is 8 for this particular triangle. And once again, I'm on the grid, so I can just count up. 1, 2. So I know the height for this particular triangle is 2. So I'm going to plug that into my formula. Area equals base times height divided by 2. My base is 8. My height is 2. 8 times 2 is 16. 16 divided by 2 is 8. Now the only thing that I do need to do on this one is 8 units squared. So I need you guys to pick 2 additional triangles and do the same thing. Now I've already done it for A, so I need you guys to pick 2 of the remaining triangles and find the area for those triangles. Remember, we want to make sure we're using the correct formula. For this one, I already wrote it down. Area of a triangle is base times height divided by 2. Once you guys have completed this task, you also need to work on your cool down for today. And as always, I am here for questions, and you can always come by during extra help if you still need additional assistance. Thank you guys very much. Have a good day.